All right. On the previous episodes, we've been talking about. Um, we talked about recapping from last week's divisional round. We talked some NBA topics and news, and we did talk about national championship game recap this past Monday. I recapped that 2 days ago. What's in store in today's show? And we say good morning. Today is January 22nd, 2026. This is JDB's Morning Cap. And yesterday, we only did almost an hour and a half talk show. Today, I might have to keep this show short, because there may not be a lot going on, but I do like the fact that we are starting the show the right way. So there's no questions asked. We will start. We will start breaking news in the NFL. The Vikings have extending Brian Flores if the Steelers passed up Brian Flores' head coaching job. So if they do pass up Flores as Steelers head coaching job, then Flores could return in his position as a defensive coordinator, where he belongs. So I'm going to ask the question: Are you surprised? Are you surprised this move? Are you surprised that Brian Flores is extending the contract with the Vikings as a defensive coordinator? So I'm going to answer this. I'm not surprised. I think he deserves the extension over becoming the new Steelers head coach. So we've seen Mike Tomlin let go a few weeks ago as a Steelers head coach, but yes, I am not surprised they're going to pass up Brian Flores, his Steelers head coaching job. Well, Brian Flores does need you in as a defensive coordinator in Minnesota. It's going to take a lot of time to give his a second opportunity to become a new head coach. If it wasn't for that, it would have been a whole lot different. So if that's the case, then the Minnesota Vikings will try to get better on the offensive side of the ball. But the defense has not been a problem in 2025-26 season. The offense has been a problem. J.J. McCarthy having a disappointing rookie season. His injuries and all that kind of stuff he's been going through. But I don't like the fact that Kevin O'Connell has pushing all the buttons to have a nice or ugly relationship between McCarthy and Justin Jefferson. But the Minnesota Vikings They'll make better moves this offseason. It's going to take a lot of time to solidify it. But Brian Flores has done a tremendous job running the defensive coordinator with his Vikings team. I mean, yes, it has to do with competitive NFC North division with the Lions, the Packers, and the Bears. So let's say there's a lot of playoff contending teams who could work themselves next year. Next year, expect to be more stronger. The NFC North expect to be more stronger. As if JJ McCarthy gets better, then they'll get back to the playoffs. But their defense has been really, really good. Otherwise, so I'm impressed with Brian Flores, what he has done as a Vikings defensive coordinator. But things have been getting impactful for one another. You expect to be proved to be the difference. But it's 100% problematic. It is 100% problematic. So it's really challenging for one of these guys. That's a crazy stuff. You're gonna have it a little bit. So it's gonna, change is gonna come. All right, so let's move on. Let's take a look at the NFL honors for in 2 weeks' time. So it goes like this. MVP candidates are Josh Allen from the Buffalo Bills, Trevor Lawrence from the Jacksonville Jaguars, Drake Maye from the New England Patriots, Christian McCaffrey from the San Francisco 49ers, Matthew Stafford from the Los Angeles Rams. Next one, it will be Coach of the Year. Liam Cohen from the Jacksonville Jaguars, Ben Johnson from the Chicago Bears, Mike McDonald from the Seattle Seahawks, Kyle Shanahan from the San Francisco 49ers, Mike Vrabel from the New England Patriots. Assistant Coach of the Year, Vic Fangio from the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator, Brian Flores from the Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph from the Denver Broncos defensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak from the Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator, and Josh McDaniels from the New England Patriots offensive coordinator. That's the Coach of the Year and Assistant Coach of the Year finalists. Here are the Comeback Player of the Year finalists. Stephon Diggs from the New England Patriots, Aiden Hutchinson from Detroit Lions, Trevor Lawrence from the Jacksonville Jaguars, Christian McCaffrey from the San Francisco 49ers, Dak Prescott from the Dallas Cowboys. Regular Defensive Player of the Year finalists, Will Anderson Jr. from the Houston Texans, Nick Bonito from Denver Broncos, Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns, Aiden Hutchinson from Detroit Lions, Michael Parsons, season-ending surgery from the Green Bay Packers. Offensive Player of the Year, Drake Maye from the New England Patriots, Christian McCaffrey from the San Francisco 49ers, Puka Nacua from the Los Angeles Rams, Bijan Robinson from the Atlanta Falcons, Jackson Smith Njigba from the Seattle Seahawks. Those are the Offensive Player of the Year finalists. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jackson Dart from the New York Giants, Emeka Egbuka from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Trevion Henderson from the New England Patriots, Tete Aurora McMillan from the Carolina Panthers, Tyler Shugg from the New Orleans Saints. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Abdul Carter for the New York Giants, Nick Emery from the Seattle Seahawks, James Pierce Jr. from the Atlanta Falcons, Carson Schlesinger from the Cleveland Browns, Xavier Watts from the Atlanta Falcons. Those are the regular defensive player and the defensive rookie of the year. Those are the finalists for each award. Walter Payton finalists expect to happen this week. So what surprise? What are any surprises for the NFL awards? I'm gonna say the Defensive Player of the Year finalist was surprise. Will Anderson Jr. was favored to win it. But for Myles Garrett, he's on that list. He finished this season with 23 sacks, and somehow you may not win there's a chance he could not win the Defensive Player of the Year. Myles Garrett cannot. There's a chance he will not winning the Defensive Player of the Year. It has never happened in the history of the NFL when a player has recorded more than 20 sacks and somehow you didn't win the Defensive Player of the Year awards. It's tough. You got to give Myles Garrett a chance to win a Defensive Player of the Year. He's been the best defensive player in the NFL, without a shadow of a doubt. But Will Anderson Jr. has been amazed for the Houston Texans. I think Will Anderson has been special for the Houston. I mean, got this team to the playoffs for 3 consecutive years. And now Will is taking a huge step to have a chance to win his first career Defensive Player of the Year. Last time a Texan player has won Defensive Player of the Year was J.J. Watt. Anderson could become the second Texan to win a Defensive Player of the Year. So, Texans have accolade 3 Defensive Player of the Years. All have been accounted by J.J. Watt. How about MVP? MVP, Josh Allen, surprisingly number 1, Drake Maye in that list, Trevor Lawrence. So, who do you think who's going to come up top? Drake Maye, Trevor Lawrence, or Josh Allen? Who do you think who's going to come up top as far as MVP? Technically, it's Drake Maye. I think he'll come up top. I think if he plays well in the AFC Championship Game against a pretty good Broncos defense, then there's a chance he can win the MVP. Boy, what a year he's having. So, I mean, they can get to the Super Bowl. They have a chance to get to the Super Bowl if they can win this game this Sunday against Jarrett Stidham. And this is a golden opportunity. MVP, Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen. Josh Allen is number 1 finalist and favored to win an MVP. But let's talk Josh Allen. Last year he was great. This year he's even better. But last year's numbers was better than this year's numbers, technically, for Josh Allen. But this year's numbers has been good, not spectacular, but it's been good enough to qualify for MVP awards. But a bunch of football players were not being seemed to be really, really happy about this. But the fact is, there's a lot of credit to go around But Trevor Lawrence, I got to give Trevor Lawrence a lot of credit. The way why he deserves to be an MVP case. Trevor Lawrence knows how to win football games when it's necessary. Trevor Lawrence knows how to take care of the football when it's necessary. Now he starts trusting Liam Cohen. Now he's trusting his teammates. Trevor has to trust his teammates. He's done a good job trusting his teammate and distributing. That is not an easy thing to do. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has done some good things, and I think Trevor deserves a pretty good chance to win an MVP. But but Jacksonville's season has resurged, a 13-4 record, but unfortunately the dream got stopped by the Buffalo Bills in the AFC wild card game. So it's not the worst case scenario to have that. So I think Trevor, there's a lot of things they can put themselves in a position to take his own cause. All right, so coming up, what's coming up on this talk show? We've been talking about Brian Flores extending contract. We've been talking about NFL honors finalists early on the first two segments of the show. We're close to 17 minutes of the show. So, what's coming up? What's coming up next? We'll talk NBA. We'll talk Thunder and Bucks. Today we have Warriors taking on the Mavericks tonight in Dallas. And then it'll be followed by the Lakers and the Clippers, both games on Prime Video. The Clippers have been red hot as of late. The Warriors have been red hot as well. So both teams try to climb up their respective Western Conference standings. We'll step away in about 3 to 5 minutes. How's that? All right, welcome back here. As the Thunder squared off against the Bucks last night, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander pounced 40 points in a 122-102 win over Milwaukee Bucks. The Thunder improved to 37-8 on the 2025-26 regular season, defending NBA champs. Meanwhile, for the Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo finished 19 points and 14 rebounds and 7 assists, but his plus-minus was negative 11. So they'll try to figure things out. Out here, as the Bucks are 18-25, they have played better of late, so there's no questions asked. So I'm going to ask the question about the Oklahoma City Thunder team. Do you think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander deserves an MVP winner after last night's performance? Yes, SGA will win the MVP after that 40-point performance last night in a 20-point win on the road. So we've just been talking about the Thunder has now won 7 of their last 8 after a pesky 12-game stretch. After they started the season 24, now they found a way to resurge, to refurbish this team after a 500 stretch over the last 12 games. Now they're starting to cohesive themselves and remain the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. But they got their work cut out. They're 1-3 this season against the Spurs. They'll play one more time to beginning in February. So there's a lot to play for it. If these two will see each other in the conference finals, then hopefully Thunder will learn from it, because the Spurs have their Thunder numbers this season. So I think Oklahoma City Thunder, they could hold on to number 1 seed. Since that time, no defending champion has held on to number 1 seed since 2019. No defending NBA champion has held a number 1 seed in the conference since 2019. The last time they did it was the Golden State Warriors, if I'm correct. Actually, no. The last time we have back-to-back best records in basketball, the team who won the title, we got to go back to 2015-16 season, it's the Golden State Warriors. We have not had that over the last 9-10 seasons. The last time we have back-to-back best records in basketball by a defending champion was the Golden State Warriors. And Stephen Curry won back-to-back NBA MVPs. And Warriors won 73 games that year. Will history repeat itself? I believe they will. Not the same record as the Warriors, but the Warriors have lost Thunder has lost 8 games all season long. So there's no way they can surpass that record. They could easily finish 75-17. Correct me if I'm wrong. Not 75-17. They could easily finish 70-12. They can finish 70-12. That would be the best record in franchise history. As for Milwaukee Bucks, as trade deadline is looming large for Milwaukee, especially that man, Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's been an issue. The biggest issue for the Bucks all season long, it's been defense. The defense has been a problem all year long. And last night, Bucks defense have clearly no answers against SGA last night. I mean, every time they're facing a star player, they have no answers. They cannot hold their own. If they don't hold their own, they can't win. They can't win that way. The reason why they can't hold their own and can't win, because you're just too damn lazy to get back on defense or get after a star player. If that happens, you're likely to get blown out and your offense will not fire every cylinder. That's an issue. And then for Giannis' future has been concerned. I'm concerned about Giannis' future. I'm clearly a concern. And because it feels like you're going to let the Bucks converting fresh young legs, and aging is critical for the Bucks team. Aging has been an issue for over the years for Milwaukee Bucks. If aging continues to be an issue, they continue to get bounced around in the playoffs. They're not in the playoff picture right now. Bucks are not in the playoff or play-in picture as of right now. So, had season ended today, Bucks will be out of the playoffs and out of the play-in picture. So, even though the Bucks have played better as of late, they still got work to do. They got 3 months to get back to the play-in chance, to have a chance to get into the playoff. If they don't if they don't do what they ask in the next 3 months, then your play-in or playoff chances are vanished. So Giannis has got to figure things out before the deadline. This is going to be an issue from here on out, and that's going to be the case. Anyway. All right, so coming up, we'll talk more NBA. We'll preview conference championship game. We're going to take a second look of both AFC and NFC Championship game. And also, we did have some breaking news for Major League Baseball I did not mention over the last day and a half. We'll step away in 3 minutes. All right, so we have breaking news from Major League Baseball. Let's start what happened yesterday. The Mets had acquired Freddie Peralta. So the 2 straight days that the Mets have acquired. On Tuesday, the Mets had acquired by Luis Robert Jr. from the Chicago White Sox. Luis Angel Acuna is heading to Chicago. So right now the Mets are making notable moves over the last month and a half. So it goes with Marcus Semien on November 24th, Devin Williams December 3rd, a sign. Mets also signed Jorge Polanco December 16th. Mets signed former Yankee setup man Luke Weaver. Then last week, Mets signed Bo Bichette. Then yesterday they acquired Luis Robert, and then just today, they acquired Freddie Peralta. So the Mets are improving their offseason acquisitions. So now, look at the possible notable lineups that I'm watching in 2026. You have Bichette, Robert Semien, Polanco, Soto, Bichette. So the leadoff is going to be Juan Soto. Juan Soto will be possible leadoff man to start this season. Then rotation, it'll be Peralta, Holmes, Senga if he's healthy. And then you got a few guys who can step up in the rotation. And then closer is by committee. We could see Devin Williams or Luke Weaver. So there's going to be a closer's job open. Luke Weaver had experience, and so is Devin Williams from the New York Yankees. Devin Williams' effect didn't work out, despite the fact they got to the playoffs a year ago. Luke Weaver effect almost worked out as planned, but Luke Weaver expect to be better with the Mets. Right now, the Mets are getting more money than the Yankees, because remember Clay Holmes. So over the last couple of years, 2 years in a row, the team went from the New York Yankees to the New York Mets. In 2024, Clay Holmes was the Yankee. So was Juan Soto. Then the next year, they become a Met. And similar result, Luke Weaver, Devin Williams, were from the Yankees a year ago, and now with the Mets in 2026. So history repeats itself. So that, I think the Mets. Do you think the expectations for the New York Mets are high despite they lost Pete Alonso to the Orioles? Yeah, their expectations are clearly high on the Mets. Last year, high expectations, one of the highest payrolls in baseball, and end up missing the playoffs. They had the best record in baseball for about 2+ months of the season, and then the Mets have played either average or below average baseball to end up missing the playoffs by a tiebreaker. The Reds earned a tiebreaker based on head-to-head win percentage in favor of the Reds last year. Meanwhile, from the New York Yankees, the Yankees have extending Cody Bellinger for 5 years. So, are you surprised this move? Are you surprised they extended Cody Bellinger? Are you surprised they bring Bellinger back with the Yankees? No, I'm not. They need it. They need Bellinger to be productive and be getting healthy. Getting healthy is going to be crucial for Cody Bellinger. Working with Aaron Judge, it's going to be critical for this Yankees lineup. And Jazz Chisholm, this is crucial for the Yankees. This could be a make or break season for the Yankees. Last year they won 90 games, over 90 games. Did not win the AL East division because of a tiebreaker in favor of the Blue Jays based on head-to-head division record between the Yankees and Blue Jays. So Blue Jays did beat the Yankees. How the Yankees could respond. Yankees won the wild card round in 3 games against the Red Sox, lost in 4 games of the division round against the Blue Jays. So let's see how Aaron Boone's 2026 season plays out with all this drama and all that stuff going on. So who has a better chance to go to the World Series in 2026? Mets or the Yankees? Well, don't be surprised. It could be Mets, Yankees in the World Series in 2026. So I have to pick. So if I would get the pick, I got to pick the Yankees. They're going to bring Garrett Cole back healthy. He'll be better by the time as 2026 regular season and spring training. Garrett Cole expect to be healthy by spring training this year. After he missed time all of last year, he did not get any of these starts all of last year. So I expect starting rotation for the Yankees expect to be better with Cole getting healthy and other guys. Hopefully it will change. It will change the complexion of the 2026 season. Maybe the offense will carry you at times. It would have changed. It changes everything else to work with. All right, so coming up next, we'll preview both AFC and NFC Championship games, and then we'll still talk more. We'll talk around the NFL as well. We're gonna talk the Kansas City Chiefs. What is the biggest what kind of success for the Chiefs will have in 2026 if Mahomes will be healthy back on time. Also coming up, we'll update Jayson Tatum's health. We'll talk about that in 3 minutes. All right, welcome back here. Let's revisit here. Let's take a second look for the AFC Championship game. It'll be the Patriots take on the Broncos this Sunday. Kickoff begins at 3 Eastern. So now the biggest strategy. All right, so the question is, let's start with the New England Patriots. What is the biggest strategy for the New England Patriots to try to get to the Super Bowl this year? The biggest strategy for the New England Patriots, they need Drake Maye to be responsible to take care of the football. So far in his first 2 postseason games, he has struggled to take care of the football this postseason. So you talk about Drake Maye's growing pains in the playoffs. It's gonna haunt you. But they won the first 2 playoff games, but despite the fact Drake Maye has not played his best in each of these playoff games. But I hope Drake Maye will learn from it this weekend against a very good Broncos defense. The Broncos come off a season high with 5 takeaways against the Bills in a 33 to 30 win over the Bills in overtime. So it's proved to be the difference. So they need Drake Maye to take care of the football. That's going to be the key. take care of the football is going to be key for Drake Maye this Sunday. He has numerous of turnovers so far in the first 2 playoff starts. So they need a minimum effort from Drake Maye this Sunday against the Broncos. What is the strategy for the Denver Broncos to get to the Super Bowl? They need Jarrett Stidham to become a good game manager. You don't have to. Sean Payton will not ask Stidham to throw 40 to 50 times a day. They're not going to ask him to do that. I ask you to run the football. If you have success with it in early downs, you set yourself up on 3rd and short situations, maybe 4th down. Only if it's on somebody's territory. But Jarrett Stidham has to become a good game manager if they want to get to the Super Bowl. That's the key to beat the Patriots. Both defenses have been very good, by the way. So I expect to see any of these offenses will move the ball. Are they going to score touchdowns in this game? Probably not. The red zone is going to be a challenge for any of these teams. New England has been better in the red zone on defense in the postseason after they struggled in the regular season. So Denver struggled in the red zone last week against the Bills in a 33-30 win. The Broncos just 1 for 4 in the red zone last week. So let's see if they can bounce back and try to get to and finishing drives in the red zone touchdowns. They, like I said, Broncos went 1 for 4 in the red zone in a 3-point win last week. They need to change it up this Sunday if they're going to have a chance to do it. But I think it's best for the teams and for the other things they can really go on at it. So, yeah. What other strategies? Broncos defense, get after Drake Maye. Get after Drake Maye. So that's a big key. If you get after Drake Maye, you might as well put yourself in a better position to get off the field on 3rd down. But it has been something to go and find another things to do. You're going to focus on other things on the Broncos defense. Yeah, you talk about and then the secondary has to perform well against primary wide receivers like Stephon Diggs, Keyshawn Boutte. Keyshawn Boutte is having a solid year. So they were about a lot of things going on right now. They would have it. They would have it on the spot. And there isn't much of a chance. There's some teams that can put it out. There's a lot of things that they can go its way there. What's the strategy for the Patriots defense? The Patriots defense, all you got to do is stop the run and get after Jarrett Stidham. That's the key. All you got to do is stop the run and get after Drake Maye and get off the field on 3rd down. Their defense has been great this postseason. Just don't get around it. The defense has been fantastic in this postseason. They only give up 1 touchdown over the first 2 playoff games. That's pretty good. That's going to carry you to the Super Bowl. If your defense plays great in the postseason, even your offense make enough plays when it's necessary, that's championship level. You got to have championship level defense. And Mike Vrabel has done that. Super Bowls is a lot favored than you guys. So Patriots have a chance to take the AFC Championship by storm. You can make your own difference. Well, that's the change is going to come with it here. All right. Let's move off of that. Let's move on to the NFC Championship Game. The Los Angeles Rams square off the Seattle Seahawks Kickoff begins at 6:30 Eastern. The game will be in Lumen Field in Seattle, Washington. So, the Rams and Seahawks, what is the strategy for the Los Angeles Rams on the defensive side of the ball? They forced a lot of turnovers against the Seahawks in first two games in the regular season. The Rams defense benefited 6 interceptions against Sam Darnold in those 2 games. So, can they pick him off at least one more time against Darnold? I mean, the Rams defense have the Seahawks numbers, especially in their first matchup. They got to Sam Darnold 4 interceptions in their first matchup. Back in November 16th. And then on December 18th, they got to Darnold 2 times on a pick by interceptions in a loss. So, Seahawks and Rams have won in each home field. Now, the Seahawks have their home field advantage once again. So, 3 times the charm. I believe this game go down to the wire. But the Rams defense, they just need to pressure Sam Darnold. You don't have to take the ball away. You can at times, but you have to just get more pressure on Darnold. The Rams defense needs more quarterback pressures, including Jared Verse. What's the strategy for the Seahawks offense? Feed Kenneth Walker once again. Sam Darnold did a good job feeding Kenneth Walker last week in a blowout win against the San Francisco 49ers. But you're facing a pretty decent Rams front 7. This is going to be a challenging situation for the Seahawks. Can they run the football with? Can Kenneth Walker have success against this Rams front 7? I think he will. You don't have Charbonnet for the rest of the year, so Sam Darnold has to use his legs as well. So if it's not there, instead of throwing away, you got to use your legs more than just throwing away. You have to use your legs. Decision making is so key to get to the Super Bowl. The Rams do have experience. The Rams have experience. So the guys who went to the Super Bowl with him, McVay and Stafford and other guys have, you have a few guys who had Super Bowl experience. But some have been young, but this is a golden opportunity to get to the Super Bowl for the Seahawks. The Seahawks offense has to run the football and have success early and often in this game if they want to beat the Los Angeles Rams. What's the strategy for the Rams offense against the top Seahawks defense? Matthew Stafford just needs to play huge amount of confidence. He needs to play confident football. They need to run the football to Kyren Williams. They need to rely on Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, and Colby Parkinson. That's going to be the key for the Rams offense. And protect Matthew Stafford. It's going to be crucial. Protecting Matthew Stafford is going to be crucial this Sunday. The Seahawks do get after the quarterback really well. So it's going to be key. It's going to be key for the Rams to beat the Seahawks this Sunday. The offense has to take care of the football and be efficient. That's going to be the key for the Los Angeles Rams. The strategy for the Seahawks defense is contain Puka Nacua. Contain Puka Nacua. Neutralize. If you neutralize Puka Nacua, there's a chance this game won't be close. If Puka Nacua doesn't go off this Sunday, this game may not be close. So the Seahawks defense like I said, if you neutralize any of these players, they neutralize Jawan Jennings, they neutralize Christian McCaffrey, and the game wasn't close last week. If they neutralize time and time again, there's a chance this game won't be close. This team will be clearly stated themselves. Let's say Seattle has a chance to get to the Super Bowl. Mike McDonald has a chance to prove it, to beat the Rams. So far, he's 2-2 against McVay. Mike McDonald is 2-2 lifetime against Sean McVay. They split in each of those between last year and this year. So there's a lot to step forward. Seahawks needs to neutralize Puka Nacua. That's going to be the key to win a football game this Sunday. All right, so come up next, we'll update Jayson Tatum's health. We'll preview both games tonight on Prime Video between the Warriors at the Mavericks and the Lakers at Clippers as the NBA Rivals Week rolls on. And also we'll talk more NFL as well as we'll step away. All right, welcome back here as the Celtics did beat the Pacers yesterday, as the Celtics are waiting to see how's Jayson Tatum's Achilles recovery doing. So let's see, we'll give an update right now. So the question is, how is Jayson Tatum doing as far as recovery? So technically, his recovery has gone well. So the question is, what is the timetable of potential Jayson Tatum's return? So here's my prediction. My prediction is Jayson Tatum will make his season debut on February 22nd, 2026 against the Los Angeles Lakers. I believe Jayson Tatum could be back for the first time in over 9 months since he torn his Achilles in Game 4 of the 2025 NBA Eastern Conference Semifinals. I think Jayson Tatum will return the second game after the All-Star break. That's my prediction. My prediction is February 22nd against the Los Angeles Lakers. So keep that thing in mind. I think the Celtics will be more dangerous if Tatum does come back. That doesn't mean he'll put up huge numbers. He'll probably average under 20 a game, but it's gonna worth his while for Jayson to get it done. So what's next for the Boston Celtics if Jayson Tatum does return? I think there is possible next steps. Trade deadline is looming. So if they can get someone, there's the possible alternative trade deadline if Tatum intends, if even he doesn't return this season, there's the alternative. So they need to get they need 2 weeks to what's the timeline when he's going to return? Either he's going to return, or do you think they can keep him out for the rest of the entire season? So if they decided to keep him out for the rest of the regular season and postseason, would it be disappointing? Yeah, it would. It would. Will the Celtics still play? Will the Celtics still play well enough? Yeah, they'll play well enough to get into the playoffs. They still could finish top 6. I don't think the Celtics will fall out the top 3. I don't think they will. But they surprise anyone in basketball. So Jaylen Brown has played out of his mind this year. He's playing very well. He's now a first-time All-Star starter. I'm impressed with him. Come off another 30-piece in a win yesterday against the Pacers. 119 to 114. Am I right? No. Celtics with a 119 to 104 win for the Celtics over the Pacers. I'm incorrect. Jaylen Brown with another 30-point piece for the Boston Celtics. The Celtics right now, as far as overall record, (27-16), and they're sitting number 2 seed in the East. Well, the Celtics have surprised and exceeded expectations. I wouldn't say championship expectations, but possible championship expectations calibered. But they're going to be if they want to get back to the NBA Finals for the third time in 5 years, they need to get Jayson Tatum back from injury. That's the key. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back here. Eric, the Chiefs have bring Eric Bienemy back as the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. And now Travis Kelce's future is still uncertain. He could be back next season to work with Eric Bienemy. And Patrick Mahomes hopefully comes back from the injury that he torn his ACL on December 14th of 2025 against the Chargers in a 16-13 loss. So now the Chiefs went 6-11 in the regular season, worst record since 2012. So now the question is, did the Chiefs do the right thing to bring back Eric Bienemy as offensive coordinator? Yes, they did. They did the right thing. They really miss Eric Bienemy. When Bienemy was a offensive coordinator with the Chiefs, the offense is seen to be explosive juggernaut. When Bienemy left as OC, tried to create more opportunities as a head coaching job or other kind of stuff, the Chiefs' offense didn't look the same since Bienemy left. And now bringing Bienemy back is actually huge for the Chiefs, but it's not going to be easy for majority of reasons. Kelce's future is uncertain. Mahomes is possible returning. Returning, it's going to be looming large. So, like I said, it's going to be extremely difficult for Kansas City. Can Kansas City right the ship in 2026? I think they can. But the first priority, get Mahomes healthy. That's the first step. Second step, bring Kelce back with the team. Instead of announcing retirement, they need Kelce real bad. So otherwise production is going to be problematic for the Chiefs offense. The Chiefs don't have the type of consistent production on the offense. Even they have Kelce, even they have Xavier Worthy. Even they had other guys who could step up. They just don't have that right now. But for Kansas City and how they can step it up this offseason, the Chiefs have to make a financial decision where they're going to go from here. If they can add, they need to acquire some wide receiver position. First, they got to acquire the offensive line. That's going to be the key. They need a young, fresh offensive lineman in the draft, or they could acquire a few veterans and then release, or somebody can depart from free agency or trade. If they can hold these guys up, they have a chance to return back to the Super Bowl. You put it in a difficult situation. The Chiefs just need more time to develop, more time to improve their roster. I'm not saying the Chiefs roster is bad. I'm not saying that. They don't have a bad roster. The roster isn't bad. Their talent isn't bad. The potential needs to be better. So the potential has to get better from young guys. The guys who only had potential: Mahomes and Kelce and Jones and Carl Loftus and McDuffie. They all had potential. The players who needs more potential: Pacheco, Worthy, and other guys who can have potential, needs more potential to be a main number one priority for this team. But Kansas City is the biggest priority right now. The way it always going to be turned out, and let's say you turn your team this way. The AFC West makes so many impacts throughout the years. But you're going to learn all these challenges. But everything the entire Chiefs team has gone through it all year long. Injuries, not closing out games, not finishing games in a close game. Issues, they have a lot of issues in late game execution. They'll prove that next year as it develops. But the thing about the Kansas City Chiefs, you shouldn't get caught. You shouldn't get caught on one ground. But let's say, who are the Chiefs, one of its main rosters? Who are the Chiefs' main players? As far as I'm concerned, we know it's Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Humphrey, Trey Smith, Nick Bolton, Xavier Worthy, Drew Tranquill, Chamari Connor, Noah Gray, and then you got Harrison Butker, the kicker. So those are the guys that have, and Marquise Hollywood Brown. Don't forget about that. These guys are clearly experienced football players on this team. And George Karlaftis is in there. So there's few players who can step it up when they needed it the most. So there's going to be a better chance to put them in a position to get in, to return back to the playoffs. They need Mahomes to be healthy. That's going to be a big story. That's what really happens here. All right, let's move on. Let's revisit. Let's talk the Pittsburgh Steelers. The question is, are the Steelers passing up Brian Flores' head coaching job? Right now, the Steelers are ready to interview Mike McCarthy as Steelers head coach. If the Steelers do hire Mike McCarthy, which means there's a chance they can bring Aaron Rodgers back. We'll see. We'll see if they bring Aaron Rodgers back this offseason and reunite Mike McCarthy. Last time Rodgers was with McCarthy was 2018. Mike McCarthy was fired from the Green Bay Packers' head coaching job on December, I believe it was December 2nd, 2018. That was the last time that Rodgers and McCarthy were together with the Green Bay Packers. So there's a pretty good chance they could hire Mike McCarthy, and there's a chance they can bring Rodgers back one more year. I don't know. It's going to be difficult. It's clearly going to be difficult. they're they said they could pass Brian Flores' head coaching job and likely bring Mike McCarthy interviewing. And there's a pretty good chance there's a chance that Steelers could hire Mike McCarthy as the new Steelers head coach. But I don't know. We only had 3 coaching changes before. This will be the 4th in franchise history for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The previous 3 was Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. There are the 3 coaches with the Steelers in franchises. All 3 have been long tenures. 2 of them have been retired. 1 have been parted ways. So this is really difficult for them to put them in a position for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now, the rest of the NFL wants to know right now. So Steelers they already completed his interview from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now there's a lot of things they can really work on that. Adhered, so there's not a lot you can change it for anyone. So it would have been different. It would have been different if it wasn't for that. So this is what the Steelers will look like in this one here. All right, so coming up, we're still going to preview the Warriors and Mavericks and Lakers and Clippers for tonight's game. And then we'll talk more NFL. We'll talk the Dallas Cowboys as well for brief. We'll talk Cowboys next for roughly at least 8 to 10 minutes. And then we'll preview the games. We'll preview the Warriors and Mavericks and Lakers and Clippers, and then we'll wrap things up, what's coming up tomorrow. We'll step away in about 5 minutes. All right, let's briefly talk about the Dallas Cowboys. I'm gonna do like 2 minutes instead. For the Dallas Cowboys, will the Dallas Cowboys make the playoffs in 2026? The answer is yes. I think the Cowboys will make the playoffs. I think they'll have a pretty good chance to get to this one here. So hopefully the Dallas Cowboys will be in the postseason. All right, so let's preview between the Warriors and the Mavericks. The Warriors are 25-20. Mavericks are 18-26. Mavericks come off an impressive blowout win in New York. They beat the Knicks. The Warriors come off a win against the Toronto Raptors on Tuesday. Now the Warriors on the road tonight. So what's seen to be next for this one? For the Warriors, what's in store here tonight's game? They need Stephen Curry and the other guys needs to step up. Actually, Warriors come off a loss to Toronto. Excuse me. So for Golden State, they just need to get things in order. You don't have Jimmy Butler for the rest of the year. And now who will be one of these starting lineups tonight? Or for the Warriors, we just don't know right now who will be inserted to be a starter for the time being. As for the Mavericks, this season hasn't gone well as planned, but I think they still got a chance to prove themselves here tonight. So who do you think, Cooper Flag expect to have a big game tonight? I think that's going to be huge for them. Who am I picking tonight, Warriors or the Mavericks? I'm going to pick the Golden State Warriors tonight. I think this game is going to be competitive. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I think Warriors will beat the Mavericks 104-99 in Dallas. Cooper Flag will have a huge night, 33 points, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Stephen Curry will have 37, and carry this team a 5-point win. Next one, we got the Clippers and the Lakers. Clippers are home in Inglewood. Lakers and Clippers even up the regular season 1 game apiece. Each team has won their home floor. So Lakers are 26-16. Clippers are 19-24. So Lakers come off a come from behind win over the Nuggets this past Tuesday. Clippers come off a tough loss against the Bulls. Now, what the Lakers have to do tonight to face the Red Hot Clippers, defense has to get off to a good start. The Lakers' defense has to get off to a good start. That's going to be the key. They need somebody to step up and taking ownership. That's going to be the key. And what Clippers need to do tonight, they need Kawhi Leonard to perform, and they need everybody else to perform well, and James Harden. That's going to be the key for the Los Angeles Clippers to gain opportunities to work with. Who do you think? Who am I picking tonight, Clippers or the Lakers? I'm going to pick the Clippers to win tonight. Clippers will win 115-109. And Kawhi Leonard will have 25 points. James Harden will have 33. They're both going to play well. Luka will have 37. LeBron will have 22. But I don't think there's going to be enough for the Lakers. Clippers will win by 6 points. Expect to be clutch situation. So we'll see how that goes here tonight. So I picked both Warriors and Clippers winning tonight. So that's going to be the key here. All right, let's wrap things up here. What's coming up tomorrow? We'll recap tonight's Warriors and Mavericks game and Lakers and Clippers. We'll take the final look of both AFC and NFC Championship game between the Patriots and the Broncos and the Seahawks and the Rams. And who am I picking tomorrow? Who am I picking on Sunday? I'll give my picks tomorrow as this weekend approaches. We'll talk more and we'll update the head coaching cycle, all that stuff, and then the list goes on and on. What's going on around sporting headlines? All right, this is JD's Morning Cap. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a good one.